This video is to explain basically the close reading directions handout and the steps to it so that students can understand what to do for a close reading. These close reading directions are primarily for nonfiction. They're more useful for articles, but that's not to say that you can't use them for other stuff. But they're especially good for arguments and nonfiction reading. So notice there's a first and a second reading. During the first reading, you want to note the title of the work and make a prediction of what you think the article is about. So that means just looking at the title of it. So for example, this one right here is Veterans Day, Never Forget Their Duty. So we understand that this is going to be about veterans and the duty that they've served. And then make a prediction of what you think it's about, and you can just write that off to the side. And then next you want to draw the rhetorical triangle, label the author, audience, primary and secondary, and the subject. In case you need help with this, on the back side of your handout there should be a rhetorical triangle diagram with some kind of helping questions, but basically you're looking for the speaker, the audience, primary and secondary, and the subject. In this case, our speaker, or the writer of this piece, is John McCain. It says that right there. We know the subject is going to be about Veterans Day, or veterans, and patriotism, because it tells us that up here. It says that the author is going to define patriot. And we know that the audience is the readers of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. And we notice that it's right before Veterans Day. Next, you want to number the paragraphs. In Springboard, it's done for you, but if not, you would want to do it like this. There's 1, 2, 3. Every time a paragraph indents, you're going to want to number it so it's easy to reference. Then you're going to want to read the article. Then you're going to want to identify the main claim of the work and highlight it pink. Annotate in your own words what you think the thesis is about. These are your opinions. Think of this like the thesis for your essay. It's the overall main idea of the reading that you're doing or of the speech that you're listening to or whatnot. After you do this step, you want to look for supporting evidence, reasons to support the thesis that the author makes, and highlight those in blue. So annotate in your own words what you think these claims and reasonings are. Compare these to the topic sentences in an essay. And then next you want to identify the data. These are the facts, quotes, and evidence for each claim, and highlight those in green. Annotate in your own words and explain how this data supports the author and supports their thesis. These are going to be the facts, the quotes, stuff like that help to support the evidence that they're giving. And then you want to summarize the article briefly in your own words towards the end. You can just write it right on the article unless the teacher directs you to write a separate summary. Then what you're going to want to do is go back and do a second reading. For the second reading, you're going to want to look more closely at why did the author write this? What was their purpose in writing it? And annotate this to your text. And then you want to look for rhetorical strategies. That means things like ethos, pathos, logos. How does the author establish credibility? In other words, how do they make you feel that you can trust their message or that they're a reliable person to receive a message from? Or sometimes they appeal to authority or refer to authority by listing other people or the past to build their argument. Pathos is appeals to emotion. You want to be specific. What emotion are they appealing to? Are they trying to make you sad? Are they trying to make you angry? And logos would be logic and reasoning. This could be done through either facts and data, or it could just be done through logic, like coming to a logical conclusion about something. You want to annotate these rhetorical strategies by explaining how they help the author's purpose in your own words in the margins of the text, and use a different colored pen. For syntax and diction, look at how the author uses words, phrases, and sentences to convince the reader of their points, and annotate your text to point out these strategies and how they affect the reader and help the author's purpose. Syntax means sentences and sentence structure, and diction is word choice. So all this is basically just asking you, like it says right here, what are the words, phrases, and sentences that stick out to you? Do they do something special or unique with them? What do you notice about the way that they write? And how does that help the overall purpose and their rhetorical purpose for what they're doing? Once you have all of this annotated and picked out, then you're ready to write a précis or a rhetorical analysis, whichever the teacher directs. When you go to write the précis, based on the information you've gathered, use the précis worksheet as a guide to begin to write a précis about the article or text you have just close read. Make sure you know the author, the title of the work, and the thesis, or in other words, the overall claim. Make sure you've determined the purpose from the author. Determine what the audience's intended reaction is supposed to be. And make sure that you use your list of strong verbs when you write your précis. Also, make sure that you look for tone words to describe what is the tone of the piece. There'll be a separate video to explain and kind of walk through an article to show these steps applied to an article.